Hey everyone, I'm Colleen with Awaken Catholic, and this is Awaken the Saint. Today's saint is partially responsible for the reunification of the Eastern Orthodox Christians to the Catholic Church. Saint Josaphat Kuncevyc was born in 1580 in western Ukraine and was baptized with the name John. His parents raised him in the Orthodox Church, which by this time had fallen out of communion with Rome. At the time of his birth, the anti-Catholic sentiments ran deep in the Slavic Orthodox Church, but Latin missionaries were also at work trying to bring the Eastern churches back into unity with the Pope. Luckily, they were partially successful, and in 1596, the Ruthenian church that John belonged to was reunited. Drawn to the rigors and spiritual depth of Byzantine monasteries, John chose to enter the Ukrainian monastery in 1604, taking the name Josaphat. From then on, he made it his life's mission to bring unity between the Eastern Orthodox tradition and the Catholic Church. He soon became a priest and later an archbishop. Constantly working to bring unity while maintaining Eastern traditions, he formed a catechism, wrote works of apologetics, implemented reforms of the clergy, while also tending to the needs of the poor. Through it all, he remained consistent in his self-mortification, always careful to stay true to his Byzantine oath as a monk. His favorite devotional was said to have been the Eastern monastic tradition of prostration while saying the Jesus Prayer. He never ate meat, slept on the floor, and wore a hair shirt for mortification. He lived an exemplary life with a passion for the salvation of souls, winning many Orthodox Christians over to the unification of Rome. But his controversial stance also made him many enemies, and tensions began to rise. Those who agreed with papal authority were called uniates, and those who stood opposed were called disuniates. Violence broke out between the two groups, and in 1620, hundreds of clerics died on both sides in the bloody war over church authority. Josaphat was deeply disturbed by the growing unrest, but he remained true to his convictions. When it was clear that the mobs wanted to kill him too, he had this to say: "You people of Vitebsk want to put me to death. I am here among you as a shepherd, and you ought to know that I would be happy to give my life for you." Then on a fall day in November, he did just that. An Orthodox priest was shouting insults and accusations against him. Josaphat had the man arrested, but not before he instigated a mob of angry, disuniate townspeople. The mob forced their way into the archbishop's residence and murdered him while he prayed. After decapitating him and dragging his body through the streets, they dumped him in the river. 5 years after his death, his body was found to be incorrupt. Eventually, in 1632, the government legalized the disuniate hierarchy and divided church land between the two groups in order to stop the bloodshed. Saint Josaphat was what a true leader ought to be. He was true to his cultural traditions and monastic practices while leading his flock by example and reunifying the East with Rome. His legacy of preaching and hearing confessions in the fields, hospitals, and prisons, his kindness to the poor, and his passion for spreading the gospel helped to win many souls to Christ. Saint Josaphat Kuncevyc, pray for us.